empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air, like a blazing flare. Just stare, cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold you I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet. Hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word, I know what's up. You can have it all, watch me rip it off. I'll admit it, you got me feeling hella love. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one, I can feel it in my heart. Yeah, I won't stop charging, we go and come harder. I
that's when it started. Jack, we've got a minute. Sorry. Yeah. We both have to head over now. Yeah. Oh, I'm still in. How am I still in the post? Interesting. I know. I'm sorry, Chris. I do have to go. Me at least. Bye. Sorry. Okay. Ready?
I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go
Oh, hey everyone, welcome to Dire Bear Adventuring Company, as I'm a complete and total idiot, having fun with V. V, who is muted.
I'm
You're just really quiet.
I'm not. I am really quiet. Listen.
Listen, we just need a button we push it that just like alerts everybody's V, you're muted.
I need to unmute V is what I need to do, just permanently.
Yeah. She can't mute herself ever.
Like, V can never be muted, that's all there is to it.
I'm sorry.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Hi everyone, welcome to Dire Bear Adventuring Company's Foundations of Adelar, episode... a lot. 47?
Yeah.
47?
Nobody knows. We don't know.
That sounds right. That sounds accurate. Sure, that's what we're going with.
Mhm.
I am your DM, Heath, aka Captain Zack, aka the Dire Bear GM. Welcome one and all to the show. We'll get started here soon. However, some quick announcements. We have a full house. 2, 4, 6 people playing tonight, plus me. That is awesome. I'm glad everybody can make it, especially Maddie, because we weren't sure. We had an announcement earlier that something awesome was happening, and we weren't sure if Maddie was going to make it, but there she be.
Yeah.
So, as always, let's do the introductions, and we have Maddie, who will be playing Callista. We have V, who is playing our adorable Grimly. We have Eric, who is playing the I'm not sure if he's going to eat me today, Zine. We have
Oh, that's good.
Chief, who is playing Arneth. Steve, who is playing Gillet. I almost swapped that around and said we have Gillet, who is playing Steve, which would not be inaccurate, I think.
Depends
And
on
Some
the day.
days, maybe.
It is
Yeah.
the trick
Yeah.
of the light. He is not sitting there shirtless, or is he?
Honestly, I had big questions about that coming into the camps. I was like,
That's what the conversation leading up to you going
Yeah.
live is. There's not enough. I said there's not enough fuzz. You can tell it's a shirt because it's not fuzzy enough.
I can see the collar now. I was like,
Yeah. And then, of course, we have the beautiful Jack, who is with us, looking on fleek, playing Yenfear, our beautiful disaster.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm wearing a sensible sweater tonight, so you know.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm ready.
I'm always, as always,
it's not
wearing
cold
my,
enough yet for the Christmas tree. I'm sorry. Ah, that's awesome.
I'm always
I love it.
repping my D&D
Nice.
Of course.
D&D thing. Real quick, before we kick off the story tonight, I will actually be, not this weekend, but the following, at the Huntsville Pop Culture Comic Expo. I butcher the name every time because it's like that long. But anyways, there's a convention coming up in Huntsville, March 9th and 10th, and I will be there playing games. D&D. This season's con game is the Ruination of Waltish Rake, which should be fun. It is set in the same city as last season's convention, Bronway, and if you look conveniently on the map of Adelar, somewhere up in the northern part, there's a little bitty place called Bronway. But anyways,
Oh, there is.
last.
Wait,
Yes.
wait. Does the stream sound quiet for anyone else?
All right, people out there in Streamland, do we sound quiet to you all? Give me a words.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a bad judge just because whenever I watch Twitch, it seems to be real quiet. So
Okay.
I'm
We are
seeing
getting a
somebody
little
say
bit of quiet.
bit.
Is
I
your
see that.
OBS pickup?
Oh, it's picking up. I'll turn everybody up in Discord, see if that causes the issue.
Let's see if that
Actually,
sounds.
Is your volume on full in OBS?
Yeah.
Okay, so your volume on your computer itself, turn it up a little bit.
That's probably actually where it is. I'll be brutally honest.
I'll say I think we had this issue last time too.
Yeah,
Hey,
it was
hey,
if I'm
on
remembering
5.
correctly.
You don't want to
That's-
screw with everybody's individual
Too late.
volumes on Discord too much, because you'll forget, and then I'll wind up streaming, and it's not gonna. It won't be consistent. So it's probably your computer volume itself.
Nah, it'll be fine. Nah, it'll be fine. Nothing's wrong.
I do
Let's
have
say
to turn
before
s-
somebody comes in here with an air horn. Turn this
All
up to
right.
like 200% air horn.
I have to do that with Atlas. Every brobots, hear me out. That's just Atlas is always soft.
or it goes the
Or
opposite direction.
Peaking ridiculously.
Yes, when we're having a little private chat watching a movie, and you're like, I gotta turn Atlas down.
I gotta
at
turn you
like
down to like 10%. You're perfect.
You're like,
I love you.
you're a gorgeous creature, never change. I'm just gonna turn the volume down. All right. Last episode, for those of you who weren't here, the town of Adelar is now set ablaze, thanks to Zine,
Sorry.
who was toppling treants who had been twisted by some evil, malevolent force.
Let me not sorry, because.
And in the wake of fiery inferno, twisted destruction that he was, he got rid of the Trents, whatever, the Trents Resners, and destroyed the town. But that's okay, because the town was emptied. Having reunited Barden Wainwright with Harlan Preston in a very touching moment. And then they rode off into the sunset towards Reedsong, which conveniently is where you're headed. Staying the night on the road, you met an old Kamat going by the name of Tom. You rested peacefully, and as you awoke the next day, you were all blessed with a gift. And on the road heading north toward Reedsong is where we'll pick up this episode of Foundations of Adelar.
I'm still convinced that was Sagarot, though.
It may have been Sejret, you don't know.
Sejrat, that's how you said it. Okay.
You don't know.
I mean, I don't, but
Stop. Don't speculate. You'll just hurt yourself. It's a good
that's
thing
what
you
I
have
do all the
70
time.
other. It's a good thing you have 70 other characters.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right.
I make characters when I get bored. I already have like I think 4 for this campaign already.
Oh, that's a
I
big
guess it's
mood.
better than addictions. So I mean, you know,
Well, I have video games
Is
for
it
that.
though?
it's true.
Is it?
Is it though? Is it?
Look, I'm not going out and doing drugs, okay?
It's
This
one
is
of the
an addiction
least
I will accept.
destructive addictions that I've got.
To-
I'll say that.
To all the parents out there, if you want to make sure your kids stay off of drugs and stay out of trouble, get them into D&D or Magic the Gathering, because then they'll never have money to do drugs and no friends.
I
I
was like,
mean,
that's a really both of
you're-
those things are very
You're
expensive.
not
Exactly.
wrong.
Exactly. I mean, why do you think I'm so heavily into cosplay? Because then I can't afford drugs.
I mean, if you're smart about it. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
I
We're
played
gonna talk
D&D.
about
I was in the theater. I was in all this other stuff, and the reason was I kept myself busy because
Then you couldn't get in trouble.
I could never get in trouble.
I mean, I was just boring, so I think that fixed it pretty well.
Oh, big man, big man.
Steve, are you the yin to my yang? You're just boring, and I was on all this stuff growing up. That is, Steve. You are my other half. You are the other half of my strictly platonic bromance.
I will be over here as I just slide off screen.
All right. So you guys are heading north. The road is clear. The sky is blue. And despite the destruction and the wanton path of just decay and rot that was the land south of you, this place appears vibrant, green, and full of life. The road north is easy, and you don't really meet many people heading south. It's as though they've already received word that something is amiss. The road finds you cresting a hill and turning a bend, and there below you, you see the town of Reedsong. The river, the Blackjack River running through there, and the famous reeds that make up the name of this town, the ones that are prized for their quality, creating musical instruments. They're lining the banks of the river. The town seems to be bustling as it always does. You can see the matron's handmaidens walking around in their habits, the long robes that drag the ground. Again, a myriad of mix of people. You see Kamat and human, dwarf, a few halflings, things like that.
I'll say once the party caught sight of Reedsong, Zine is turned into an owl. And he's perched on Gillet's shoulder.
Okay. All right. So, and apologies right now if my audio is cutting in and out. There seems to be something going on with my connection, so I apologize.
I say
You
Discord's
sound
red
good
for me
right
right now.
Yeah, it's going red to green to yellow to red
Yeah,
to green. It's all
I
over the
think it's
place.
just Discord being Discord.
That sounds about right.
We love it. We won't change.
Yeah.
So you're sitting on his shoulder in owl form.
Mhm.
Okay. Heading into town, you see people nodding as you enter. They don't seem to make any fuss about the mix of the party. They just seem to kind of nod as you do in a small town. Even though Reedsong is technically a small place, it's not as large as Landsport. Much bigger than Adalar, but it still has that kind of a small town feel. You see several of the matrons ladies as they are making their way around, and there seem to be tending to it. So for Eric, your first time hearing about Reedsong, this is a place that is function and form blended with nature. So the buildings, the fronts of the buildings may be made out of trees that have been brought up and the boughs knitted together. Not through magical means. It looks like they're actually cultivated to grow this way. Like time has taken its toll. There are some flets up in the boughs of the trees, but most of the things are on the ground. But it seems again to be this melding of both of nature and human craftsmanship, or I should say craftsmanship. This side, there's the river here that crosses between the two of them is shallow enough that you could wade, but there are ferries that will just take you across the river back. They're little flat bottom skiffs that just kind of go back and forth. It's wide enough that you don't want to try to wade across it because it's just going to wear you out. But
And we're more polite than that.
Yeah.
For now.
You don't want to sully the water too much. Get your half-work stink out of that water.
I mean, it's got to wash out somewhere.
It all ends up in Landsport and out into the river, out into the ocean.
Wow, rude.
It's called silt, right? Right. Orc
Silt.
silt.
Right. That's what that is. Any stops, anything you'd like to do while you're in Reedsong? No, you cannot go visit the cobbler. Steve.
Why
not?
Gillen assumes he's packed up and left.
I do need a new string for my dulcimer.
Sure. Plenty of music shops around here.
Yeah. I'll pick the first one I see.
All right.
I'll go browse.
It's a small place. It's almost like the hollow of a tree. It's not very big. Man, a hollow of a tree, a hollow of like a giant tree. You can see that there is a gnome who is carefully stripping down, or he's planing out a piece of wood that will be eventually like the back of a guitar or a lute or something. He's carefully planing it down as you walk in, and he looks up. Ah, hello. How can I help you?
I need a new string for my dulcimer. It snapped while I was playing it.
Might I? And he holds his hands out. Dulcimer. It looks like an upright bass to this guy. It's like
I'll carefully hand it over.
he takes it and sets it down. And where did you come across such a fine instrument? It's lovely.
My mother gifted it to me when I was young.
She's a sharp eye, she has. It's a beautiful thing. I tell you what. A pittance, a copper. Give me 2, and I'll string it for you.
Do I have copper?
Do you have any copper? Yeah, you can make change. Not like nobody in the whole realm has change.
Yeah.
I'd just give him a gold piece.
I must here, and he starts making change down to 9 silver.
It's okay, I really don't mind.
No, I know, but I wouldn't feel right if I took it from you. And he hands you back, 9 silver and 8 copper.
Okay.
There you go. And he takes and carefully and deftly with his tiny hands works the string in. Wraps it around, slowly puts the button in, turns the screw on it, plucks at it a little bit. He takes a turkey feather off of one of the counters, and carefully strums it, holding the turkey feather down on it. And it does. It sounds beautiful. It sounds perfect the way it, back to normal. He hands it back to you with reverence, almost bowing as he holds the gigantic instrument. Luckily, it's very light, but he holds it up to you to take from him again.
Arneff's got like starry eyes. He happily takes it.
If you ever need of a nice penny whistle or anything like that, I'd be happy to sell you any. Tell your friends I'm over here. Augustus is my name, by the way.
It's nice to meet you. Thank you for helping.
It's nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to work on such a fine instrument.
Arneff will try to shake his hand.
It's like, woof. Oh, you're a big one.
Just engulfed.
I'll need that back. You're gentle though. That's good. It's like Kevin Hart shaking hands with Shaq.
Yeah.
It's like watching my daughter shake hands with Shaq. He's not doing a sales pitch at you, but kind of giving that whole tell your friends, tell their friends, to tell their friends, I'm over here.
Well, Arneff is going to take his leave, since that's all he needed.
All right. He returns to crafting whatever stringed instrument it was he was working on. What about the rest of you? Anything else that anybody like to do?
How are we like inside a thick forest, or is there like a lot of sunlight here?
No, it's dappled sunlight through thick canopy of trees.
Oh, okay. Let's say if Gilad ends up standing like in one of the little sun rays, then Zine will take form of melted owl.
Just an owl puddle?
Nah, let me link it. Just melted owl.
All right. So you just kind of belting out.
Yeah, just sort of like
Mhm.
just spreading out. It's like sunlight.
Sure, yeah, easy enough to do. Anybody else? Anything else? Grimly, you are getting some glances. They're not like staring at you like, they're just kind of like, did I just see a goblin?
Just like winding in between legs.
Yep,
there's a lot
it's
of
just
people.
a whole, it's just a whole group of individuals, and every once in a while you'll see people turn their head and look. Gnomes, halflings, dwarves a little bit, elves definitely come out, most, and humans of course, are most of the population here. Being a forested area, the dwarves are kind of, they're kind of iffy on it, but the halflings and the gnomes, which are more agrarian, love Reedsong, and many of the shops you see are run by them. Where else would you guys like to visit, or would you like to just be on your way to Lansport?
I don't know. Is there somewhere we want to visit?
You tell me.
Callisto would like to visit Sarnes's.
Okay. Please hold while I prepare my throat for this.
Yum, 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 yum.
Crossing the river and finding the huddled shop that is stacked once again to the very rafters with bric-a-brac, knickknacks, and all sorts of wonderful sundries and such. The sign is a clapboard thing that's kind of pinned up there. You made intentionally to be this way. Marks in beautiful script, Sarnes's sundries and such. As you open the door, there's a little tinkle of a bell. Cling-a-ling. And from around the side, looking a bit more punchy than before, but still with his, belly with the belt underneath it and his long robe, stands the owner and proprietor, Sarnes. As you enter in, he looks up. Welcome to Sarnes's Sundries and such. I am your humble hedge mage. Do I know you from somewhere?
Yes, we've been here before. A while back.
I have not.
No.
Oh yeah,
no,
she's
no.
new.
Yeah, no. He's talking to the other one. Well, then, to you, I would like to say welcome to Sarnes's Sundries and such. I am your humble hedge mage, Sarnes. It is a pleasure to have made your acquaintance. What is your name, person, who I have not met until today?
My name is Callista.
Well, Callista, please take a moment to peruse my shop. If there is anything that I can help you with, that you need answers with, or for, you please feel free to let me know. Again, I am Sarnes, your humble hedge mage.
Do you happen to have any spell books?
Yeah, I got all kinds of spell books. What kind of spell book you want? You got a run-of-the-mill spell book, a slim spell book for easy carrying purposes. We've got a sturdier spell book made out of something hide that's waterproof, a lizard of some sort. We got heavy industrial size spell book that's been treated so that your writing stays on, but everything else just kind of wipes off. What kind of spell book would you like? I even got a fancy one with a clasp and a lock that goes in it.
Do you have any that perhaps have spells already in them?
No.
So these are blank spell books.
That is correct. They are blank.
Okay.
Waiting to be filled with your knowledge.
Right.
I have to mute so I can cough. I'm okay.
Love the voice though; it's great.
Thank you.
Then I think perhaps a treated slim spellbook.
Oh, well, certainly. Come on, follow me. And he kind of hitches up his belt and walks around the side of the counter to a shelf that, while it is jam-packed, you can see the spines of various books. None of them have words written on the spines, and there are various colors of dark crimsons and bright blues and greens. He kind of moves his finger over one, pulls one off the shelf, weights it, flips through it, smells it. Yeah, this one, and he hands it to you. It's probably that thick, like say like an 800-page like graph paper, notebook. So it's like that thick. But it seems to be made out of the cover of it is very rigid. It doesn't seem to bend or give at all. It's made out of some sort of leather that feels as that you can feel that it's been treated with something. The pages themselves, as you close the book and you see that it opens, it has a lip around the inside of the covers, and the pages sit inside that lip, and then you close it and it makes one sealed book. And so then you can just open it and like flip the pages out and then close them back up.
Okay.
So it is completely contained. He says this one here is water resistant. I wouldn't say proof, because if you open it up under the water, ta-da, your pages are ruined. But as long as you keep it closed, you should be fine against all sorts of elements like rain, snow, sleet, a light drizzle, a heavy fog, a light fog, a mist.
All sorts of types of weather we see.
Yes, all sorts. Yes. Yours for the fine price of about 100 gold pieces.
For a blank book.
For a magically treated spell book that will resist rain, sleet, heavy rain, light rain, a fog, a mist.
Are we all in here?
Tell me, are you all in here?
I'm in here judging.
I'm about to say why he's ranting. Zine will unmelt, fly off of Gillet's shoulder, land on the book, just kind of look at it and just like peck the book a little bit.
Hey, shoo, get out of here, shoo.
The owl
is this your environment?
Around.
Is this yours?
I'm so sorry. Is
that yours?
Friend,
I don't want him to poop on things. Get him out of here.
He's not going to poop on anything.
Well, at that point, the owl will stop and just look up and just stare him right in the eye.
What are you?
Don't.
He hoots.
Tell you what, 50. It's a good price.
Okay.
Excellent doing business with you.
But let's say if she didn't agree, the owl eyes would just like get wider. And he'd just sort of like hop up and look all like cute.
Would you care for a receipt?
No.
Proof of purchase. All right. And he holds his hand out.
She counts out the 50 gold, sets it in his hand, like it's closed in her hands, and then she holds her hand out for the book.
He hands you the book.
She exchanges the currency for the item.
Excellent. He takes and quickly shoves it away into a pocket that was hereunto hidden somewhere. And
then she's going to ask if he has ink and writing tools.
Yeah, follow me. And he once again hitches the belt and starts making his way through the endless shelves, it almost seems like. And he stops, and you can see stacked reams of paper, rolls and tubes. You can see ink bottles that are stoppered and made of glass, some made of crystal, some are have a removable stopper that seals whenever you put it back in there. All sorts of different parchment and ink and things like that.
Hmm.
And you can see there are labels on some of them. Some say squid ink, some say, different types of material that the ink was made from. There's one that says woad, and it's like a blue color.
Okay. Am I able to find one that'll stick to the paper?
Yeah, easy enough. The paper itself is normal. It's the book and the way that the book is made that makes it water resistant.
Okay.
So the parchment in the book is normal. So it's up to you, whatever type of ink you would like to purchase.
You know what? I am curious if he has a pink colored ink.
How did I know?
Because she's a fucking tiefling?
Let's say,
What?
can I make a perception to see if he does have pink colored ink?
No. Give me a percentage roll. That's a good question. Does he have any pink colored ink? Not that you find, Maddie. Callista is unable to locate any sort of pink colored ink.
Just because.
Sure.
Probably not.
Red ink and disappearing ink, and you mix them together.
But then I've just got red disappearing ink.
I don't think that's how that works. You do find assortments of different colors like yellows, and you do find reds. You find pigments of green and blue, but no pink.
Owlzine floats over to the red ink and hoots at Callista.
I'm sure I can find pink ink at home if you want to wait.
Pink ink.
No, I suppose just regular black ink will...
No, we do have a various assortment of blacks depending on the materials that you wish to purchase them from. So please make a selection that would best suit your needs, and we will come up with a viable price for that.
Okay. She's gonna make a couple selections. Just gotta compare the two of them. She's really not looking to spend a whole lot on her ink and whatnot. So.
Give me just 1 second here.
So at this point, Owlzine is now floated over and is on top of Grimly's head.
Grimly's head.
Yes.
Grimly tries to eat you.
Grimly might be just walking around touching stuff.
How much of it is going to end up in Grimly's pockets?
Well, not every.
That might depend on Sarnas.
It depends on the sleight of hand roll. Okay?
Narrows eyes at you.
No, it's just touching for now. It's fine.
The owl hoots on top of Grimly's head is all adorable.
Hoots getting me caught. Hey.
No, but he's making you look innocent.
Yeah, as he's like benched over, like catching something. He's like,
Hootie and the Blowfish?
Yeah.
I don't think
Hang on,
Grimly would
just
try
1
to
second.
steal something.
You know, would Grimly try?
If anything, he's just distracted by touching stuff. If he's not paying attention, though, he might walk out with something if he still has it in his hand. Just obliviously, accidentally steal something.
It's the Kender. You're a Kender.
Accidentally.
The ink that he has there, the quality, the lowest, most inexpensive bottle is still like 8 gold pieces.
Disgusting.
Player's Handbook 1 ounce bottle of ink is 10 gold pieces, so it's
Disgusting.
ink. Wow. It's not easy to come by.
Yeah. That's why wizards have it bad when it comes to paper. Spells in their spell books.
Well, they should just become alchemists and make their own gold.
That's
Hmm.
true.
Okay, so she's not
No.
looking to spend like a whole lot on this ink. She's looking at maybe spending a couple silver for the ink and the quill.
You're not getting out with a couple of silver for the ink. The cheapest bottle of ink is 8 gold pieces.
8?
Ocho, the 8.
Okay. I'm like 90% sure she has a gem, and I can't find my note.
Oh no!
Bom, bom, bom.
Bum, bum, bum.
Are you all broke? Do I need to give you more money?
I
No,
mean,
I know it.
Let's see. Last
I-
time we
I-
got
The rest of you,
It's
plebs.
It's just one of those
fine
things that like
art,
I would rather.
cloth.
Yeah, I
I
just
know
don't
it.
have my notes on it and what it's worth because it's written in my notebook.
I know
And
it's
he might be upstairs, so I'm gonna be right back.
Okay.
once
As we have 2 people
Let's
just
go.
I'll be right back.
gets back.
All right. Well, I am going to just start flipping through stuff, I guess.
Okay. Anything in particular that strikes you fancy or that you're looking for?
I mean, really, I'm a bard, so I don't need any of this stuff. But I'm just looking. Thanks.
Oh, don't need any of my stuff. Well, pardon me.
Well, if you're going to be
I
offended
think you
by
hurt
it,
his feelings.
oh, well.
No,
So
no, I
what?
just got this this nice, and he walks over and he kind of like nonchalantly leans against a shelf, and you can see that it's like he's got his arm up and he puts his hand on some bolts of cloth, or at least you think it's bolts of cloth, and you realize that it's like folded fine clothing. You know, nothing fancy. Just this, you know, these
Zooms
old
in.
garments. He like unfurls it, and it's a shirt, but the sleeves are designed to fit high up, which makes the sleeves up here billow out, and you can tell that it's supposed to be worn, and you can see it just underneath a white undershirt that goes with it that makes it look even more. The sleeves are tied at just below the elbow, and they have long draped pieces off of them, and it's in like this beautiful purple color, like this muted purple, and
I'm-
the shirt is white, and it's got gold brocade on it, and
I don't take my eyes off of it, but I am patting myself down to see how much gold I have.
of course, you're such a refined individual that, of course, this, I'm sure, doesn't interest you at all, does it?
Well, I mean, It would
Arneth
be
is just gonna
rude.
poke his head in and say, "How much is it?
go away, Arneth.
How much is it?"
Ah,
I like
it's
it.
a pittance for the entire outfit, 30 gold. But for you, since you're such a rarefied individual that you are, I'll make you a deal. 18 is yours.
Do you have anything that would fit this owl?
Yeah, I got bird cages over there.
No, I'm thinking like tuxedo pants.
I was about to say
For
the
an
second he says that bird cages, the owl's head just does a 180 and looks at him.
Okay,
You remind me of a Cornish hen I ate once.
Oh, yes. Doesn't he just? So,
Tuxedo pants for an owl? No, I have nothing to that. Who would ever dress up an animal? It's crazy talk.
I mean, we gotta take him to somewhere fancy eventually.
Why? He's a bird.
he's not really a bird.
He's like our party familiar.
Sorry, he's an owl.
He's not.
You lost me. I'm sorry. I don't understand. So, outfit, 18 gold.
Never mind.
Eh?
Just.
Eh?
it's-
Eh?
As my sheet breaks as I try to open it.
Just keep hitting delete, it'll be fine.
What's escape do? I'm hacking the roll 20.
Of course.
Let's not just say we did. Jeez.
Do I need?
I
a
will
fucking-
hand over the 18 gold.
I don't even notice. I'm like just thinking about it. I'm weighing my pros and cons in my mind.
All right.
I'm waiting for Ian Fear to just look up and the outfit's already gone off the shelf.
Ah!
Yeah.
Where did it go?
All right. So, yeah, no.
Arnett's buying that for Arnett,
Yeah.
huh?
Arnett,
It's mine.
Arnett has purchased the outfit. It does not fit you at all.
Really good. It's a little tight in all of the areas.
Are you? Like,
Am I what?
he's just an octave higher.
Oh my god.
Hey, so we bit uncomfortable.
You guys.
I have-
Well, I guess Arneth
Purchase.
bought that, so
Did you purchase the outfit for 18 gold pieces?
Yes.
Excellent. Good choice. May want to have it let out a little bit. Just saying. You kind of girthy.
Oh. The others say that I'm thick.
I don't know.
I
Seemed
wouldn't
pretty
call him girthy, but whatever.
smart. Seemed pretty smart to me.
Jesus. We need to go.
Never change.
Sarnas, you're perfect.
Eventually, I have to. I mean, the rope will get a little funky.
Oh my god.
My mother
Oh.
always told me to wear a fresh pair of small cloths every day. You never know.
Good advice.
You never know.
You don't want to be. You don't want to die with.
You don't want to be
dirty
caught in a
underwear.
wagon accident with dirty small cloths.
No,
no,
That's
no,
all
no,
I'm
no.
saying.
Is he going to put the clothing in a bag?
Do you want it in a bag?
Yes.
Bag.
Paper
Yeah.
or plastic.
He wraps it in a bundle for you and ties it with twine and hands it to you.
Thank you.
Bag.
Okay, so she is actually going to pull out one of her gems that's worth 100 gold pieces.
Okay.
Okay.
Out of nowhere, a jeweler's loop appears.
And then she is going to say, I would like your best magical ink. And your best quill.
He
I'm
holds
sure
his
this
hand
should
out for
be
the
more
jeweler.
than sufficient. She hands it over.
Yeah, I think we give him a gratitude. He hands you back the gemstone for safekeeping for now.
Mhm.
He bustles around the building for a moment, and he comes back holding 2 bottles of ink. And the quill, you're not sure what the feather is that it came from,
Mhm.
but it seems to go from like kind of a blue to a purple to a red at the end of it. And you can see that the end of it has been sharpened perfectly and been fitted with a nib so that will retain the ink and will be perfect quill for you.
Okay.
He takes and puts it into a cedar, not a cedar box, but into a nice box, closes the lid and puts the little latch in there, hands that to you, takes another box that has velvet cushion material in there and sets it in and closes that box, wraps it up and ties it off and slides them both over to you. Now, I can't swear to the veracity or the truthfulness behind this, but apparently the quill comes from a baby, the big birds. A rock. That's it. It comes from one of them. The ink I made. This is a thing of my own. Those 2 bottles should last you your lifetime. Guaranteed to never smudge or run in water. the parchment will deteriorate underneath the ink before the ink will ever disappear.
Okay. This is more than sufficient. Thank you.
He goes for the entire gem.
Of course.
Takes it, pockets it away. It's a pleasure doing business with you.
Mhm.
Again. Anything else for the rest of yous?
I guess not.
I'm wondering if I should
What's
get
stopping
Grimly
you?
a new bag. The one he has is probably all mud.
Filled with mud.
I
There's plants growing in it. There's mushrooms coming out the side.
yeah,
Yep.
probably. Mushrooms, flowers, weeds. He's probably gonna try finding a new bag.
Oh
But-
yeah, easily enough. Are you just looking for like a shoulder bag, like a messenger bag type of thing?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he has several various ones in different patterns and extra work. There's a plain leather one. There's one that seems to be made out of canvas, but has different attachments to it.
Like different pockets.
Like accent work to make it look nicer than just a canvas bag. There is one there though that does catch your eye.
Okay.
It looks like more like a backpack than a messenger bag.
Okay.
You can see that it has 2 side compartments and a large compartment in the front,
Okay.
like a central compartment. Imagine like a cooler bag. You know, you have a central pocket and then 2 side pockets,
Okay.
kind of like that. It's not a cooler bag, of course, but I'm like shaped like that.
Shaped like that. Okay.
I saw you grin, Eric.
I have a pretty good idea of what this is.
What do you think it is? I want to hear you say it.
A Heward's handy haversack.
That would indeed be a Heward's handy haversack.
I don't think
Eep.
Grimly knows what that is, to be honest.
Okay.
He's probably like,
Better question. Does V know what that is?
that's a great question. No.
Do ya?
No. I don't know.
So everybody's familiar with the bag of holding, right? It's like D&D trope by this point in time. Everybody knows what a bag of holding is.
Yeah.
Heward's handy haversack is like a bag of holding, but a little easier to come by. I shouldn't say a little easier to come by. It has different properties to it. No matter what, the weight is always 5 pounds. Never weighs any more. Each of the side pockets can hold. Shoot. Hang on a second. I don't remember if it's 20 pounds or if it's more. Give me just one second here. But each compartment has its own weight and is its own pocket dimension. So, there we go.
Is it in reach of Grimly? Can he like be holding it? Like-
Yes.
Oh yeah. He definitely wants that. He's got a lot of stuff that
All
he
right.
doesn't need to have on him, but
Side pouch
It-
can hold up to 20 pounds of material, not exceeding.
Not
2
exceeding a volume of 2 cubic feet. The large central pouch can hold up to 8 cubic feet or 80 pounds of material. The backpack always weighs 5 pounds regardless of its contents. And
this is perfect for this small boy.
Thank you,
Fascinating.
Grumpy Cleric, for putting the info in Twitch.
Yes.
thank you. I actually just found it like before that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grumpy Cleric. I literally went, oh, it's actually in the compendium. It's just, remember how they don't name things because of the SRD crossover. It's just
Yeah.
labeled as handy haversack in the compendium. So if you would like to purchase it, please let Sarnes know as you are eyeballing it hard. He's leaning against one of the counters, just kind of with his eyes narrowed at you.
I'm not gonna steal it.
So it's a Sardis handy haversack.
It might be Grimly's handy haversack if the price is right.
If
Yeah,
the
that's
price
true.
is right. He'll
You
walk over a little bit with it in his hands.
just like this idea of you holding it, and it's just like all you can see is like your nose on top of his head. This big bag.
Yeah.
How can I help you, little one?
He'll just hold it up to him.
Just hold it up. You interested in purchasing that handy haversack then there, are you?
Just a lot of nods.
Do you have any money on you?
He'll like put the bag down and go back to his actual bag and probably start rooting through it, pulling everything out as he goes. I've never actually
What is he
calculated.
doing? What's he doing?
Looking
He's
for
just looking for
payments,
his
I assume.
gold, I guess.
Why is he pulling out mud? That's a lot of
Oh,
mud.
okay, yes, about that. Well,
Someone explain
were
to me
just-
why he's making a garden in the middle of my store.
we'll
You
clean
need
it
a new
up
department,
before we leave.
obviously.
Who's responsible for the little green dude?
Arneth
Arneth
will
is.
raise his hand.
Arneth,
Yeah.
He's my son.
you're cleaning that up. I ain't prestidigitating that out of here.
Well,
Not
Grimly
my
will clean it up. He'll want to take it back with him. Hey now.
he's gonna transfer all of the mud from his bag into the handy
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Disaster.
Okay.
Useless goblin.
It's
Oh.
like our version of the Earth
I
Donkey.
laughed way too hard at that. I had to mute myself.
It's like our version of the Earth Donkey.
God.
He just doesn't get it. He's
Uh,
like, what?
Good old Earth Donkey.
Yeah.
Good old Earth Donkey. For those of you who don't know, you need to watch the animated spell book. It's Move Earth. It's the best spell. You just
Best
get a donkey-
cantrip.
Best cantrip that you can find, because you can just move 5 feet of earth. Just take a donkey with you, and you can tunnel anywhere you want to go. Just have the donkey deliver the dirt outside the.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, God, sorry, I got a headache. I was laughing so hard. Okay.
We're a wonderful bunch.
Yeah.
Good
Like,
job, B.
like Grumpy Cleric said, just one of the side pouches. It's fine.
Sure.
It'll be great.
Sure.
Yeah. You could probably hold
You
all that
start
mud,
a
honestly.
garden in there.
It
No
can.
one would know.
It's like pulling out.
Interdimensional garden.
Exactly.
It's like pulling out potatoes and carrots, and that looks like maybe a cabbage.
It's like we need some food.
It's
We
just
put
all
the
Brussels sprouts.
carrot.
He's just like baby cabbage.
Baby
It's
cabbage.
all Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Baby cabbage.
Occasionally has to open the pouch and just water it.
Opens the pouch, bunch of butterflies fly out. What? I have
He's
to
like
have them
catch-
pollinate.
He's catching them, shoving them back in his bag or tray.
And try to
I
eat
love,
them.
I
Try
love
to eat
how
them.
He's got butterfly wings stuck out of his mouth.
I love how we
a
we are
win-win.
like trying to feasibly create the way to have an interdimensional garden inside of a haversack. This is wonderful.
I like that we've gone so far off the rails. All right, so
One of my
uh,
buddies just said, "Why do you need a donkey when we have a muddy goblin?"
It's so true, though.
It is, yeah.
you have a mud-loving goblin,
hmm
and he is the Tempest domain, so he could just make it rain inside of the bag whenever he wants to.
That is true, yeah.
All right,
Okay.
do you have the money to purchase this bag?
That's a good
with
question.
which you're gonna be carrying, I assume, gardening implements with.
How how much is it? Cause I never did money math for
Give me. I would like for you to give me a persuasion check, please.
Oh no.
Hmm.
Where is my character sheet?
Can I
you've got
somehow
this.
assist by having the owl land on Grimly's head and look adorable?
Sure.
Fantastic.
Let it never be said that.
I didn't like cute things.
Yeah. So you have advantage. Let's see how you did.
I didn't do.
Hold on.
My charisma's not that high.
It's higher than mine. I have a negative
He-
1.
He shakes his head back and forth. How much do you have on you?
That's a good question. I never actually did math for Grimly's money. So Grimly doesn't have any unless you'd like me to do some math now.
It's 500 plus 1d10 times 25.
Oh god, 500 plus 1d10 times 5.
If I am not times 25, if I am not mistaken, let me double check and see, because starting at a higher level has its own math for that. So bear with me just 1 second. I'm almost 100% sure that that's what it is. Hey, look at that. I was right on the money. 500 gold plus 1d10 times 25. So roll 1d10 for me. Nice. Awesome. So you have 750 gold as your starting gold at 10th level, since that's what level you came in at.
You muted yourself
Yep.
again.
Listen, I do that all the time. I'm sorry, it's a bad habit.
I mean, I'm glad I'm not the only one who does that.
He
I do it too.
as he's like pulling out stuff continuously from his bag, he'll start pulling out just like a bunch of gold coins, I guess.
It's like somebody has to go panning for gold. It's just it's sifting through the mud. It's finding gold pieces in there.
It's like putting a bunch of gold coins in his hand, but they're all muddy.
He just kind of looks at what you have and just says, "No, stop. I'll just take that." He scrapes it, mud and all, into his hand. He just takes a moment and he mutters something and then just touches the top of it, and it all just cleans up immediately. The mud disappears. The coins glisten in his hands, and he just kind of counts them. And he says, he reaches out, does the thing again, and like all of a sudden your hair is all clean. And then he just kind of ruffles his hand through your hair. That'll do. And he puts it away, and he gives you the bag.
Okay. Yay!
He looks at the owl
Starts,
for a
like,
second. He
trading
goes,
stuff.
"Sure. It's the owl's doing. Just so you know. You're cute, but get out of my
The
sight."
owl looks inordinately pleased with itself.
This magical item, due to your persuasion and what I rolled, cost you 175 gold pieces for an item that would normally cost you well over that.
Okay. Okay, that's fine with me.
Your persuasion may not be very high, but it was higher than what I rolled, so there you go.
Yay!
And the fact that I'm pretty stingy when it comes to magical items, and you guys, like,
Unless
Just-
it's like cursed swords.
Oh yeah, you can have that
Eh.
for free. It's fine. Take it. Yeah, no, take it. Take it.
eh,
Is that what I'm hearing?
cursed swords, just hand them to the person handle first, right, Eric? Cursed swords, hand them handle first.
That's why I have the remove curse spell.
Dungeons of the Mad Mage, not to give away, but there's a particular sword that they found that has a curse on it, and it's a neat effect. Luckily, they have remove curse, so they're fine. Everybody's
Luckily,
fine.
we had a wizard that grabbed the sword with mage hand and didn't
Mage
touch the
hand
dang
instead of
thing at
actually
all.
touching it.
Yeah. I was very
All right.
lucky.
Before I shred my vocals anymore, anything else in Sarnes's sundries and such that you would like to purchase?
I
No?
can think of anything.
Grimly's
great.
just cleaning up his mess. It's like muddy streaks, but he's still got most of it.
He's like he just pats you on the head and kind of like shoves you towards the door. I got it. Just go. It's fine.
Just get it.
I've got it taken care of. Go on.
My mud.
My mud. No.
So yeah,
My cabbages. All right.
Grumpy Cleric says that bag's usually like 1,000 gold.
Yep, I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know. I know how much it's worth.
Jesus.
Which is funny because like Bag of Holding is
Yeah.
holds
We got
technically
the owl
more.
coupon.
Yeah. Technically holds more, but is less valuable than the haversack. Oddly enough. Don't know why. But anyways, I digress.
As soon as
Anything-
we're out of this store, I'm going to hand over the gift to Yennefer. Here you go.
Who needs money when you've got a big old sugar daddy?
Sugar orc.
I mean,
Sugar half orc.
Sugar half orc.
that was literally all my gold. So,
Spent all your monies.
yeah.
You guys got to start taking jobs again from the Adventurers Guild.
Well, we probably should have, waylaid some of the like art pieces that we end up finding.
As-
Would
I mean,
you?
As to realize that Zine is holding a metric fuck ton of treasure and gold on him right now.
Just
Would
plant-
you like to fence some of that?
He's got 7 very big things of art. That's worth apparently a lot.
Would you like to offload some of that here?
I think it would be a good idea.
Yeah, we can.
Or would you like to go to Lanceport and do it there?
We'd probably get a
There might
better
be a
market,
better
in
market,
Lanceport. Yeah.
I'm sure the Noose would have somebody to be out with.
Fantastic.
But if you
Wasn't
just
wasn't the noose just the captain of the guard in disguise?
No, the Noose was the name of the organization.
it sounds terrible to be honest.
Right.
I won't lie to you.
Right.
Yeah, it's short for those what slipped the Noose. It's shortened to the Noose, and they have hands in things that are best left to do in the dark. Anyways,
Just
anything else in Reed Song? Would you like to stay the evening in Reed Song, or would you like to move on towards Lanceport?
Well, what time of day is it?
It's probably getting on now about mid-afternoon. So you can find a comfortable tavern.
I mean, Zine's perfectly happy camping out in the woods, but
You're fine out in the woods,
Yeah.
wherever.
I don't think Grimley
He's
has
good either
ever
way.
stayed in an inn.
we did in
Adelar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did we? I
Yeah,
don't even remember
that's an inn so much as that it was a building that had rooms you could stay in for the night.
Yeah.
So
It
you're
was close.
saying
He probably still slept on his bag. I'm gonna be honest.
we need to convince one of us to try to check into the inn and try and wash him.
I'm going to
Kill
be
it
honest
won't
with
do
you.
it.
At this point in time, one of you needs to learn prestidigitation. That's
Mhm.
probably the only way you're ever going to get him clean. Let's face it.
Fair enough.
Well, I
His
mean,
hair
we
is
do-
very clean, by the way.
His hair is like this brilliant, bright orange, and the rest of him is just dirt. It's like,
It's just mud, baby.
Dirt
he's
colors.
just he's like
just like-
my kids in summertime. Can we play out in the rain?
Why am I suddenly reminded of that like video of the kid just plastered in peanut butter?
Ah. just like
All right.
dripping his belly with peanut butter, but it's mud.
I think perhaps spending the night in Reed Song would not be such a bad idea.
So
I have nothing
spend the
against
night.
it.
All right. Northern part of town.
Across the
There's a-
river.
across the river, which is where you are. You're already across the river
Okay, yeah.
at the edge of town. It just dawned on you, didn't it?
I'm just disappointed I'm not playing the character that would get into a fight with this barkeeper.
Oh, good grief.
I'm not going.
I'm sure you'd
Well-
like to visit again, wouldn't you?
Calista suggests that place, and then doesn't understand why everybody's like, no.
But see, Zion's an owl, so.
There is a sign that says under new management on the front of this building. Ooh, that looks good, whatever it is. I just see a plate of food. I'm like, ooh, that looks yummy.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna have a heart attack later tonight, but this was delicious.
Worth it.
I just had
wait,
popcorn.
I'm okay.
I just had popcorn absolutely smothered in butter.
Nice.
Delicious.
Is
I
there?
said I'm not sure what the plate was that you had, but it looked.
Yeah.
A whole
I'm sure
schwack
you've
of
been
nachos.
given your gift.
Hmm.
I've been given my gift.
Yes.
You weren't here to
Aw.
accept it, though. I'm sorry.
What the hell, man? You can wait.
So we gave it away to the first homeless guy we found.
Oh god! That's horrendous.
He's in the river now.
He's calling himself Lord Mudbank. I don't know what this is all about. He's
Oh god!
prancing up and down in nothing but the shirt.
It's what he deserves.
Oh my.
Okay. Anyways.
Aw.
I'm
Uh,
working
Well, I'm
on
gonna give
Chibi's.
Arneth a big hug and thanks. But it was kind of
Just a
overpriced.
hug?
Tavern. No, they got a hug. And
No, you
and
get the rest
thanks?
later.
Oh. Okay.
Uh,
Can
That goes in
Zine,
the NSFW channel. All right. So.
Can Zine tell if there's like a druid glade in this area?
It's very. It smacks of druidic nature or druidic tending, given the way the buildings are designed and the lushness of this area. But it's not actually druids that are overseeing this.
Okay.
You see several of these, and you don't recognize who they are or what they're doing, but you see several figures, generally women, or female that you can tell. They're dressed in plain brown robes with a little bit of stitchwork at the hem of the sleeve and along where the robe comes together. That looks like trees or flowered branches and things like that. It's not super overdone. It's very muted, but you can see they all look uniform in a way. Some of them have hoods up, some of them don't. You can see a mix of, and it doesn't seem to be any one race. You see Kamite, you see halfling, elf, gnome, human. It doesn't seem to be any one race that seems to be tied to this. But you get the idea that they're probably a temple or an order of religious worship that has to do with nature in and of
Okay.
itself. Not druidic, but more divine.
Cultists.
Sure. You weirdo.
Let's say he's going to fly off and just kind of like flit around on trees and like watch these rogue people for a while, like kind of just see what they do.
Sure. You watch as they seem to be moving towards kind of a central place that's along the northern bank, and it's a very top. And it looks like a temple if you had trees that were nice and lined up as though they were part of a grove, and they've grown all up perfectly straight. Where the branches first split off, they seem to have made a roof. And then you can see that the canopy of leaves is so dense as to form a roof against any sort of rain. you see that the building has no door, it's open, and you can see fountains or fonts inside that seem to be underneath where they would be a part in the leaves to catch rain. The whole building seems to be designed in reverence of nature and a place of worship. Clearly a place of worship.
Okay. Are like they all going there like right now?
They're coming and going from there. It seems to be like their central place.
Okay.
Asking around or are you just kind of looking?
Well, he's still in owl form now, so.
Okay.
he's just-
Knowing you still retain your knowledge. Give me a religion check.
Okay.
Just straight old good old fashioned religion. That old time religion. Okay. Yeah, you actually recognize this as a temple to Malira, goddess of nature.
Okay. He'll fly in the temple.
When you do, you watch as several of the matrons and the sisters stop and watch you fly in. They don't seem to make any motion to stop you or say anything else like that. Kneeling and seems to be in a state of like trance or deep meditation. You see a Kamat. Her hood is down, and you can see that her brown fur is graying at the edges. The tips of her ears have gone gray. Her face has gone gray. As I talking about this cat, which I've always pictured looks like either Poppy or Sebastian, I watch as Jack's door opens because I know one of the cats walked in the room. But she has thick fur off the sides that kind of like shaped out the side, and you can see long whiskers on her face. She has her head down, but you can still make out some of the features there. And you watch as there are sisters on either side of her who are also in meditation. You can see rooms off to the side, other parts of the building where where like dormitories might be, or an eating hall, or a place for them to gather outside of just the main temple.
Is there like an area to perch nearby where the sisters are meditating?
Not really to perch nearby. That's one of the things that does strike you as odd. There is an absolute absence of like seating. There's no benches, there's no chairs or seats in here. There are what are akin to prayer mats, but there's nothing like seating material. The nearest place to perch would be the branches of the tree that make up the building itself, up in the rafters, if you were.
Yeah, he'll
I mean, you
fly
could
up onto,
land near them.
Yeah, he'll land near them. Just sort of like hop around a bit and sort of like sit down and watch them.
Minutes pass by, and eventually you watch as the revered sister looks up. She just kind of looks over and tilts her head to the side, and she smiles at you. She doesn't say anything for a long minute before she speaks. There is no need to hide your form, this blessed place, for all are welcome, especially those who revere nature as we do. However, do not feel that it is necessary to transform either. Just know that you are welcome here in this home.
Yeah, the owl will sort of like fly up, land on her shoulder, and just sort of perch there for a little while.
She gives a throaty chuckle. Welcome, little one. And she scratches, and you can see now that her eyes are white. She's blind or she can't. There's clearly she can't see, but she recognized you for.
Okay. He'll just kind of stay there, probably for. How long have we been wandering around in the town?
A few hours between all the shopping and just
Okay.
meandering through the town and everything.
How long did it take for that woman to finish her meditation and recognize him?
You don't know that she's necessarily finished meditating.
Well, to talk to him.
Oh, but she about 10 minutes roughly
So
before she looked
say-
up and said anything to you.
So he's probably got another hour and a half or two of his wild shape left.
Probably so.
Yeah, he'll spend up until he has about 30 minutes of his wild shape left, just on her shoulder and just enjoying the atmosphere of the temple.
Yeah. It
before he'll
is
fly off and go find the party.
Is somebody typing?
Sorry.
It's okay. You don't remember the last time you remember this feeling of connection to the earth was when you were last in your own glade or your own location. It heartens you. It's it fills you up. It fills up your spirit. You have a oneness here, and you could probably spend hours here, and you can see why they sit there. And like I said, to watch them, it's almost statuesque. They don't seem to move, other than the breathing that you can see that they do. You don't hear any utterance of words. There's no songs of praise or anything else like that. It is just quiet reverence, as though they are all trees in the forest, and they sit quietly.
Okay. The ground in the temple, is it just like dirt?
It is packed dirt.
Uh,
It smells very, very loamy, very like a mix of well, the trees in here are ash, but like it's a very tree and earth scent. Not that fetid dirt, but like that nice wholesome earth smell.
Before he leaves, he'll hoot to kind of, I guess, get her attention.
Mm-hmm.
He'll fly off, land in front of her, utilize his druid craft
Mm-hmm.
to make some flowers where he lands.
Can you cast an owl form?
He's shifting back.
Oh, you are shifting back. Okay. So
Shifting
he
back.
goes from being this little pygmy owl, this giant lizard folk.
Yeah.
So you druid craft some flowers for her?
Yeah, he'll create it's essentially like a 5-foot patch, as the spell allows, of just flowers that that match the area, and then he'll give the woman a nod, use his second wild shape to shift back into an owl and fly out of the temple.
Fly out. She doesn't
Go
say
find the party.
anything. She just looks up at you as you transform, and she smiles. And then as you transform and start to fly away, she says, "Thank you." And then goes back to her meditation.
I can't use spells in beast shape until I think level 18.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
yeah.
The cool part is, level 20, I don't have to use any verbal or somatic components for any spell I cast anymore.
Nope, just done. Give me another religion check, please.
Okay.
Now, for the rest of the party, what are you doing? You're wanting to stay in, read song for the night, right? Where are you going? There are taverns. You can find a few inns and taverns and hostels and things like that to stay in. It's easy enough to find. No, not hostels, as in like the weird movie where people end up dying. Pretty sure these are wholesome places. Let me check your religion check there.
Not the Broken Bow. Not
Okay.
not
No,
the-
the Broken Bow is in Silverhaven.
Oh, that
was the name of the tavern where the awesome band. Does anyone remember what the name of the band was?
was in Silverhaven.
Oh,
No, I
um,
don't.
The broke.
I got
It
my
was-
notes saying. that was
Check
in
it. Are you sure?
Utah.
Is it the Broken Bow that was here and the Green Bow that was there?
I think it was the Green. Well, I believe Green Bow sounds familiar for over in
Silverhaven.
Silverhaven because
Okay.
I have
may have
notes
gotten
from
them mixed
April
up.
saying Broken Bow.
Then you are correct. It would be the Broken Bow. So, your religion check. As you are flying away, you realize that they are there in meditation. That the aura around Reed's song that is there as like a protective area is maintained by their constant connection and meditation. You're not sure what would happen, but you're pretty sure that that's the reason that Reed's song is in the state that it's in the upkeep that it's in. And you realize that there's a lot of these women that are moving around. And again, like I said, it's not all women, but the majority of them, women moving around wearing the robes, the vestments, if you will.
So he basically would, like, they're essentially taking shifts, meditating to maintain whatever
Right.
protection Reedsong has.
Pretty much, that is it.
Fair enough.
Okay, so with the Broken Bow, is that where you're heading to? And thank you, Steve. I don't have my notes for Reed's song pulled up, so
Yeah, it's yeah. I'm going back and forth through my notes, so I'm getting all sorts of loopy.
heading towards the northern side of town, and you easily enough find the party. There is a tavern that sits there. The tree branches, much like everybody else, seem to be making this place. However, you can see that the branches, the bough of the tree, are broken and holding together at the top, like they were fell together but broke off. Hence the name, the Broken Bough. As you enter in, you hear music playing, and people seem to be having a fine time. There is the sound of laughter and merriment carrying on. It's much different than the last time you remember. However, behind the bar is the same curmudgeonly, cantankerous looking individual. A little less cantankerous, but nonetheless, it's still the same guy. As you enter in, 2 half-orcs, an elf, another elf, a goblin, and an owl.
Then Owl just flies in, and Yinfir gains an owl.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Na 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 na. All right, you
Yinfir puts his hands up. Owl just.
he looks up from the bar, and you see he's got a mug in his hand, and he's cheering, and he holds up his hand and says, "Welcome, strangers, to the Broken Bough. Come in, come in." And he points over, and you see a Kamat. She's got a tray on her shoulder, kind of like this, and you can see several mugs on it. See to the folks. See that they get what they need. Welcome. Sit down. Have a seat. Tonight's where I do all the voices that just strain my throat. And you find yourself a table, and you sit down. He makes his way over from the bar, holding
Does this table, is this table by a window with maybe an afternoon sun ray on it?
No, unfortunately, it's closer to the. and there's a low fire in the hearth. It's not really necessary. It's more ambience than anything else.
no.
But
Owl is right in front of that hearth and just
all
melting.
right, just melting into the hearth. Okay. He walks over and he says, "So, what can I get for you today?" He kind of looks at Arneth and looks at Gillett, then looks at Yenfear, and his eyes go wide, and he says, "Oh, friends! It's been a while."
Oh yeah, it has.
Your party's changed a bit. You've got some new friends, and he kind of, thumbs over at the goblin, and ooh, hello, and he waves at Callista.
Oh,
Where's
yes.
your other friend, the one that can hit like a wagon on a way?
Which one?
The owl, the owl hoots
Uh,
from the hearth in response.
No, human girl.
She's
God.
in jail.
Oh yeah, she's
Oh,
in jail.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. I kind of hoped to have had a word with her. I'm sorry to hear that. That's unfortunate.
Well, I know, actions have consequences. That.
I could say that. The beating that was laid upon me certainly had a slight change of my opinion on certain people. So,
Glad to hear it.
if you send word to her, let her know that she has my thanks.
For sure.
I tell you what, friends, first round's on me for missing friends and departed loved ones. And he
Yeehaw.
waves over at the Kamat and says, "Get these folks a drink on me." And she's like, "Yes, sir." And she bounces off behind the bar. You can see she's filling mugs for everyone, putting them on a tray. He says, "So, are you hungry? You staying here for the night?"
Yes and yes. I look
Excellent.
at the party.
He says, "Well, I'll have her get your order. You let me know. I hope the drinks are good, and I'll make sure you have a room for the night.
Thank you.
It's good seeing you all again. Thank you." And he starts to head back towards the bar, where he is tending to some people and things like that, staring around, making sure that everybody's fed and tended to. The Kamat is young, very, very short fur, almost more skin exposed than fur. It's so short. She has an honest little face that's kind of like a longer snout. Like she's like Sphinx mixed with something else. She's like almost hairless, but not quite. Her ears are like tipped down. And she kind of, "How can I help you?"
Just a nail for me right now.
And she unloads the tray that she has, and she's like, "Any food for you?"
I would love some food.
I would
yes.
love some food. I'll eat whatever he's having. I don't know.
Okay. We have roast lamb with potatoes and carrots.
Sounds fantastic. I will take that.
Excellent. I
Gil
will
just
serve
sort
that
of
for you.
twiddles his thumbs. Yes, please. Because he's not quite sure what to make of anything here yet.
See, the owl will come over, land by Yenfear, and boop Yenfear with.
She takes the tray back, tucks it under her arm, wanders off. She's gone for several minutes, and she comes back with ladled bowls and serves out everybody. You can settle up now, or you can settle up in the morning with sir. And she turns, and if you need anything else, you can. My name
Thank
is
you.
Rasma.
That's a pleasure.
Rasma, Rasma. And with that, she tends to somebody else and goes over and sees to everyone. In the bar, there are 8 tables. All of them, with the exception of like 1 or 2, are pretty full, having anywhere between 4 to 6 people surrounding the table. They all seem to be eating and enjoying themselves and having a good conversation. They all seem to be talking over to one another, exchanging stories. It's like a local diner where everybody kind of knows everyone comes to visit this one particular place, and so they all have conversations. It's all one table. Everybody pays their own bill, but maybe sometimes somebody picks up an extra bit on the tab and so forth and so on. The
Arnaz is going to casually but quickly remove Zine from Ianfear. Scoop up the
Cool.
bird, put him down on the table.
What's that for?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just getting a little too touchy.
Okay. No problem.
Say Zion will just start hopping around.
The music is coming from a young man, probably in his late teens or early 20s. Human, plain brown hair, kind of plain faced, average, just an average generic guy. But the instrument that he's playing is it's a cittern. It's not a lute, which is most often what you see. It's actually a 6-stringed instrument. It seems to hold itself. It's got a deep barreled body to it, so instead of being flat across the back, it's actually rounded. It has a deep resonant sound on the lower strings and a beautiful melody on the upper strings. And he's playing it, and it's really interesting to hear because Yenfear, it's not music that you're used to hearing. It's played quickly, so what we would include like Spanish or mariachi guitar. It's this, quickly played thing. And he is just, his head is down as he is just strumming away at this thing, playing just with complete abandon into the strings. And then he, as he stops, the crowd kind of looks over and there's, a smattering of applause. A couple of people pitch a few coins in his direction. And he thanks everybody and scoops up the coins quickly.
I am extremely impressed and like laser focused.
Are you like eyeing him? Are you giving him the eye?
Give me your skills now.
Hang on a second.
Show me your ways.
Okay. He looks up at you as you are kind of like, and he kind of shies back and holds the guitar or the cittern closer to himself.
And then I realize I'm being creepy. So I just give him this like really big thumbs up. And like flick a coin over.
It ting and rolls across to his feet and he picks it up. He doesn't speak, and you can see that his eyes, although his features are just very plain, his hair is just like mine, just this brown color. His eyes are green and vibrant as he looks at you, and he just waves at you, and then he tucks the coin away and starts to play again. And this time it's more of almost a sorrowful tune as he picks away. He plays, it's about 3 minutes long, and it's just full of, it starts off like a love song, breaks into a speedy pickup midway through, and then ends on like heartbreak and tragedy. You can tell that he's telling a story in the music that he's playing, and it fills the room, and nobody realizes it, but nobody's talking. Everybody's just listening. And as he plays the last of it, just picking the strings carefully, as though each movement is just this deliberate thing. As he plays the last note, the entire room collectively lets their breath out. And he kind of looks up and kind of pulls the guitar in. And this time, there's a lot more coin that's tossed his direction. And he once quickly scoops it all up. And it's only copper. It's copper, maybe a silver or two, but he just latches out at each piece and carefully picks it up and puts it away. He puts the guitar back in a case that he's carrying, and he slings it over his shoulder, and he makes his way toward the front, toward the bar, keeping the guitar close to himself, like holding on to the strap that's there. And he goes to order food.
This must be some interesting potatoes.
Give me a perception check, Enver, as you are watching him move.
Is he a phony? A big fat phony? Okay, perception?
I don't know. I need a perception check so I can tell you. He is not a phony.
See into infinity.
He is not a phony at all. However, he does not speak. When he gets up there to order, he knocks on the table and points towards like the tap for the ale. And you watch as the Kamat pours him a mug and sets it down, and she asks him, "Are you hungry?" And he goes like that. And she goes and comes back with a bowl, and he tucks into it, and like you watch as he eats, he doesn't eat, he like hovers over the bowl, and as he eats, he keeps his eyes like looking around.
All right.
So Owlzine will fly off the table, go to the bar, land by the dude.
As you do, he holds the spoon up like and kind of keeps the bowl closer, like holding the bowl up to himself, and he holds the spoon up at you like he's trying to ward you off with it.
That was me. Sorry. Oops.
That's the
Carry
sound
on.
of the boy dropping the bowl.
Yeah.
All right.
So
he doesn't
wave
seem
a
to
wing.
think you're cute. He's like, I will thump you with this spoon if you get closer.
He waves a wing, puts it back down.
he doesn't seem to. He notices that there's a piece of bread to go with his bowl, and he takes the bread and kind of like tears a piece off and doesn't offer to you, like kind of throws it in your direction and then dips the bread in the bowl and sops up some of the au jus.
He'll eat the
Goes back to
bread.
eating.
Yeah, he'll
Okay.
eat the But he's taking this moment to observe the instrument to see if there's anything about the instrument, anything special that'll catch his eye.
How familiar are you with instruments?
He's pretty decently familiar, actually.
I don't know that he would. I don't know. A citern is
maybe not
such a-
this particular kind, but
because this is like one generation off from a guitar. So there's a big old cat.
So big and fluffy.
You're not as familiar with this particular instrument. You can see that it's in a case right now, so you couldn't see it anyway. But it seems larger than a lute that you're used to seeing most minstrels or bards carry around with them. The case itself stands. If the boy was standing up, it would come to like his chest, as opposed to a lute, which is a much smaller instrument. I mean, it's got a long neck on me, don't get me wrong, but the body of the lute is smaller, more akin to like a banjo size, maybe a little bit bigger than that. God, I can hear him purring from over here.
yeah.
Sorry. He's real happy right now.
Not even through the headset, like literally just over the airwaves, all the way from where you are in maple syrup land to here.
Yeah, all the way. to the I'm quite interested in this instrument, actually. Because it kind of sort of looks like what Arneth plays, but like different. So I'm like,
Very different. Well, I'll tell you what. As you're all investigating this musical instrument that this boy has, why don't we take a quick break? How about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back. Everybody go to the restroom, refresh your drinks. Everybody out there who's watching us on Twitch, thank you all so much for keeping an eye out. don't go away. We'll be back in like 10 minutes or so, and we'll continue the rest of this evening. I also have an announcement concerning some giveaways that we have coming up soon, including a hardcover actual Wizards of the Coast book that we have. So
Yeah.
stay tuned, come back, and we'll see you all then. Yeah, 10 minutes. 10 minutes good? 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah, sounds
All
good.
right, great. Thank you all so much. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Thank you.
I'm standing on the edge of a cliff. Realize there must be more to life than this. Reaching for the stars, traveling so far, like a dragonfly. Just grab my hand from heaven's end. With me tonight, I'm gonna And do you see you got me falling in more times than I can get out. Down in the deep of my mind, I crawl for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, how long do I got to keep you, to keep you? Down in the deep of my mind, I crawl for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, trying so hard not to keep you, to keep you.
No, they weren't even in Discord to begin with.
Welcome
I
back.
didn't even. I don't know. I guess I clicked hang up instead of muting everything, so that's my apologies.
You're doing
Yeah,
They're
you
good,
kind
though.
of
Here we-
kind of disappeared on us a little bit.
Here we go.
Yeah, we were all like, "Where are you going?"
Bye. Bye.
Welcome back, everyone.
Where'd you come from? Where'd you go? Sorry.
Real quick, I love it if you could zoom in. See these little tokens? Aren't they the cutest thing ever? We've got a
Yeah.
Callista and a Yenfir and an Arneth and a Gillet. And they're fantastic. And those were made by our very own Chief. Commission art because Chief is amazing. And commission art because Yenfir is amazing. And commission art, when I say Yenfir, Jack is amazing. And
We're
commission art,
basically the same person, okay?
truly, truly you are. Also, commission cosplay stuff because, let's face it, Maddie's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And hire me to run your game because I'm amazing. Anyways, enough about all that. You were studying. Welcome back, everyone. As you were studying this young man and the interesting instrument that he has on his back. Well, carefully placed as he is, like, tucking into his bowl of food, his bread, tossing crumbs here and there to the little owl that is at the end of the bar, hopping around.
I mean, Zion is accepting this free food.
There you go.
That's what I was about to say. There you go. All right. If there's nothing else that you'd like to do for the night, you can all turn in.
I'm good.
I mean, sure.
All right, who's taking first watch to make sure we don't get stabbed?
In the middle of the night.
Sounds like you.
Yeah. That's what I was
Good night,
thinking.
everyone. Closes the door.
Congratulations.
If
Gil.
someone stabs you, yell loudly.
Yeah, we'll come get you later.
Just scream. It'll be fine.
In the morning.
Scream in the morning.
Grief.
Like an alarm clock. Like a
Don't come down for
rooster.
breakfast if you're dead, okay?
And
No
then
one
we'll
wants
start
to see
looking.
that.
Start making screaming noises like one of those really harsh alarm clocks.
This isn't what I wanted. Silence.
That's when you start screaming back at the alarm clock in the same tones.
Shut up
It just
right
becomes
now.
a scene from Dumb and Dumber where you're doing the most annoying sound in the world.
Oh no! Oh
Just
god!
at the alarm's doing the noise. Finally, somebody in your house just kicks open the door. Stop it!
V.
No, I'm almost winning.
I've nearly won.
I felt like someone.
Yes,
someone said,
me.
Hi.
It's me.
What did I do?
Zoom in so people can see the little thingies.
What?
The
Yeah.
little-
Oh,
can you
I'm
zoom
an
in on
asshole.
the-
Listen,
on the-
yeah. There we go.
You're perfect. No
There we go.
change.
There. There. See?
You're doing great, sweetie.
Also, who's taking Grimly? Because I don't think Grimly should sleep by himself.
I'll take Grimly.
Oh god. Do we have to do this again?
It's like
He can
It's-
sleep
it's the
between you guys.
parents-
It's fine.
it's the parents where the dad just wants some alone time, but the
Mhm.
mom is constantly carrying the baby around, like, and you know the baby.
Oh my.
Well, as
But
you,
you know
as the
he doesn't
mom
go
holds
down
the baby,
easily.
as the mom holds the baby over his shoulder, he just looks at the dad and goes, "You evil little shit! I swear to God, you just cursing our baby.
It's a baby.
It's not a baby. He's a full-grown
demon.
goblin at this point in time. This is just weird."
Oh my god.
I will also 100% try to get Grimly to take a bath, but I will not call it a bath. I will just say, hey, you want to get in this nice warm...
Yeah,
Nice.
let's play in the
This-
water together. Woo. Yeah. I'm just like tired already, but you know, I've already had this conversation 100 times with Arnett. Like we can't be treating this clearly adult gremlin like a baby.
It's like a conversation you guys constantly have while you're on the road.
Yeah.
Look at our boy. He's full grown.
He's an
They're
adult.
old.
But look at him.
And also, I never agreed to be a dad. I never agreed to be a dad
Surprise,
at all.
bitch.
Perspective wise, I mean, honestly, he's older than us when it comes to it. If we were to translate our age to goblins, he would be our dad. Okay, technically he's nobody's dad, but still.
So
He's-
really,
I mean, he is older than Gillet.
but I'm very tired. And Arneth will not budge. He's literally more stubborn than anything I have ever seen in my life. So I let it go. When we have a son now. And that's how I became a father.
Here's a story of a bard named Yenfear, who was busy being a disaster. All right,
Wow, rude.
your
You're
words,
right, but
your words, not mine. Literally introduced as being
literally
a
it was,
disaster.
yeah.
All right,
You're right.
the evening passes without event. The next day you awaken. No, you're not getting stabbed in the middle of the night. I'm not having that happen. The next day you awaken. The tavern is, as expected, quiet. Razma is still there. She is serving. As you come down, you can see that she is kind of prepping for the day. And she asks if, would any of you care for a bite of breakfast? I have a few rashers of bacon and some eggs that I can prepare for you.
Lionef raises his hand.
Sure, me too.
She sets about cooking breakfast for the lot of you. It's about that time as she's in the back room.
I'll say Zion's not an owl this time.
Oh, he's a giant lizard folk.
Yeah. That just comes downstairs.
As you're all sitting down because you're downstairs, she's already in the back room. The door to the bar opens, or the tavern opens up, and in walks the boy, once again carrying the guitar, the cittern, over his shoulder. He's holding on to it. He sees you all and just kind of tucks down, and then he sees this blue-skinned lizard folk, and his eyes go wide as he just kind of looks him all the way up, and you're in full headgear and dinosaur bone pieces and everything.
He doesn't take that off unless he has to clean it.
You're a nightmare looking thing. Do you successfully wash Grimly is the question.
Yes, that is.
We should roll for it, damn it.
Would he have fallen for that trick?
I think Grimly trusts Arneth enough for it.
So
He's a
you
clean
were
boy.
successfully bathed. The goblin.
He's a different color now.
He's a
didn't know
shade
your
of
hair
pale
was
blue.
red.
He's a shade of pale blue. He's not even green.
I thought his hair was brown. I was so confused.
It's bright orange.
I am. very
Somebody
proud.
looks between the two of you, then looks at Arneth and looks back at you and looks
I
back
squint
at looks
really
at Arneth.
hard. Don't fucking say it.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
Open your mouth.
Mazel tov. The boy holds the guitar over his shoulder again, holding on to the strap for dear life, as though this were the only anchor that he has in this world. And if he were to let go, that it would fly away and he would. He walks to the end of the bar and sits the case down and then climbs up on a stool and puts the case between his legs. So he's like, apparently this is his most prized and probably one of his only possessions.
All right.
Holds. He digs in his small pouch that he has on, and he takes out a few coins and he puts them down and raps on the bar. Razma comes around the corner and looks at him, and then looks over at Zine and kind of steps back for a second. Where did you come
What?
from? I should put on some bacon. She looks at the boy. You want food? And he slides coin over. As he does, she takes her hand, and puts it on his, and then curls his hand around his own coin and slides it back. He says, "For the beautiful song, breakfast is on me." And he kind of takes the coin and puts it back in his pocket and smiles at her sheepishly. She goes back, and you can hear some muttering back there. You're not sure about what she's saying, but you make out something about bejesus all big ass lizard folk, something like that.
Oh, shit.
She comes out after a few more minutes, and she is carrying platters of breakfast, and she sits down before you guys, like family buffet style, a plate full of just rashers of bacon. You can see plenty of eggs in different forms, scrambled and fried, and mostly fried. But she sets them all down before you, and a plate of scones. No, a plate of what I would call biscuits because I'm from the South. But she sets down a plate of biscuits for you guys, and then turns around and goes back in and comes back out with a plate. It's not a lot, but it's a meager meal, and sets it before the boy. And he kind of nods at her and tucks in again and starts to eat. And again, it's that guarded thing where he kind of looks up every once in a while and eats. He seems, like I said, very, very guarded about his food as he is tucking in. You guys eat with all aplomb, and it's good. It's it's hard not to be good. There is every spectrum of bacon in here. So when I say there's a spectrum, it goes from being the soft, chewy kind, that really good chewy bacon,
Delicious.
to that nearly burnt crispiness on the other end, and then everywhere in between. So there's a myriad of whatever you like. There's enough there for everybody to eat.
Grimly's just eating with his hands. He's not even like plate.
Grimly, you can't do that here. You do that in the forest, but not here.
Arneth is doing the same.
Arneth! Jesus. Okay.
You probably don't want to know what Zine's doing to that bacon.
Just like plate up to his face.
Well, what probably ended up happening is, like, does he have like an entire thing of bacon in front of him?
It's for everybody, but yeah.
I just spit.
He'll wait until everybody gets what they want of the bacon. Then he will take the plate.
You're not getting seconds, is what he's saying.
And just his jaw will open. He'll just tilt it back.
Just so
I'm no longer hungry. Actually, I had one egg. That's how far I got.
Watching the lizard folk unhinge his jaw to eat the plate of bacon.
Yeah, no fucking thanks.
It does
on
that thing where it fills the gullet, like, and then he swallows it all down.
Making intense eye contact with Yenfir the whole time.
Sticks his long lizard tongue out, licks the plate, and sets the plate down.
Listen, don't do that. Oh.
All right.
If it makes you feel better, I'm assuming Gillet and I are sitting there eating like normal people.
Probably.
Pretty much.
Just like slowly, but just like through squinted
I
eyes.
imagine they're eating normally, but they're just kind of watching everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm high-key embarrassed that Arnath is eating with his...
Zine will do that thing with the bacon, set the plate down, look at everybody, notice they all like make eye contact with me. He's just like, what?
That's
great. Manners matter when you're in public. Really.
Well, it's not like I brought in a dead rabbit and ate it raw.
Thank God for that.
He's not wrong.
It's not like Grimly's
look
eating
up.
lizards at the table or something.
Yet.
You look up to see the boy, who is mid-bite. His locked eyes with Zine.
Zine will look at the boy and then just go, "Thank you for the bread last night."
He Tips his head in confusion and kind of shrugs.
He'll shift into an owl.
As I kick the table.
Yeah.
Plate on the bar. Clunk. And
Okay.
it picks his plate up and goes back to eating, but once again that guarded motion.
I say
Where did
then
all the
he'll
bacon go?
I say the Owlzine will turn to Arneth,
It's his fault.
and he'll say in, I hope Arneth can speak this language. Say in Sylvan.
I don't think I can.
You can't.
I don't believe so. Let me
I know who
check.
can speak Sylvan because it's part of their natural language.
Mm-mm. No, so.
I know who can speak Sylvan because it's part of their race's language.
Okay, well, he will speak in Sylvan to the table at large and tell them that he's going to the temple, and then he will
Go
lift off.
to the
He'll lift off
temple
the
then.
table and fly out of the tavern.
All right. And away, there he go. Oh, there he go.
Okay, I'm not trying to be a bitch or anything, but I'm gonna just pick up my plate and kind of go scoot off to the bar where barbarians don't eat, and eat like a normal person. I'm gonna sit next to that kid.
If you can't handle me at my filthiest, you don't deserve me at my best.
Whatever.
So you're moving over to sit with the boy.
Mhm.
He just kind of does that little head nod thing.
What's up nod?
What's up? But then he goes back to eating.
Well, I hate to interrupt your breakfast. I had to get away from that. You know. Anyway, your
He
playing was really nice last night.
He does this motion, which I don't know if you would know what that means. But he kind of nods at you.
Nice.
I'm sorry,
now-
V, what the hell are you doing? Yeah.
I was fixing my sleeves.
Oh, okay. It looked like you were like wiping your hands off or something. Sorry, it
I'm-
just distracted me for a second.
I'm sorry, I could have been probably, let's be
No.
honest.
You're fine. Okay.
Ooh.
So you
You're
tell him that he played nicely.
Yes. I'm still very curious, but I'm like, he doesn't respond like the way I expect, so I'm still kind of like super awkward about it.
He points at you and then does this motion. Like asking you, do you play?
Oh, yes, I'm a bard. I play the opens my sheet. What am I playing? I play the lute,
Bang two rocks together.
the pan flute and mandolin. And funnily enough, I actually play the same instrument as he does.
Because you have the Saturn in there?
I do. I don't think I've played it once. I'm too preoccupied with my pan flute.
He takes and looks at you and pats the case and then points to you and goes like this. Like, pats the case, points to you and kind of shrugs like, do you have, where's your instruments at, sort of thing.
Good question. Where are they? They're just in this bag of holding I have. And where do we keep our instruments? I didn't think this far. They're with the big old green guy over there. As I say green, he's gray. Never mind.
He is gray, but it's okay. I knew who you meant. He
One of
takes-
them half orcs.
He slides the plate to the side and takes the case and puts it up on the bar and unlatches and opens it up. And he kind of like taps it and then like motions to you.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna get a good look at it.
Yeah, you do have one of these because isn't it magical?
It,
Isn't that a
no, the
magical one, or
mandolin
is that
is.
the mandolin?
And
That's
The
didn't
mandolin
Buffy
is.
steal it
The
for
mandolin.
you?
He stole the
Mhm.
mandolin, yes.
The mandolin is the one
Yeah.
that's. 'Cause as you were talking about, I was like, wait a second.
Wait just a goddamn minute.
Wait just a cotton picking moment here.
One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is cursed.
It's true. It's so true.
No, those are the those are the pipes.
Dude.
But I must run away now. All right. He pats the instrument and then like motions to you with his hands. Pats it and motions to you.
Oh, I'm gonna get just a little bit of playtime in if he lets me, but I'll take a good look at it first. I'll inspect the fuck out of this instrument.
Like I said, it looks like for what we would call a guitar. It's close to the cittern that you would have or play, like you know how to play, but
Mhm.
it's not. It literally looks like a guitar.
Huh. Okay. How nice does it look?
Pretty nice.
Hmm.
It's made out of some sort of cherry wood, so it has this red hue to it, and you can see the swirls in the wood that's been planed and then it's been treated. The thing looks
Real.
super nice. Like,
real
how did this
juicy.
penniless
That's
boy-
literally my question. I'm like, where'd you get this from? Pretty nice. Sorry.
and emotions, he points to his throat and like taps his hand and then kind of points to the guitar.
It's fine. It's fine. It's really nice. Can I try it? Perfect.
Nodding up and down at you vigorously.
Sweet.
As you take it out, he points a finger like this, and in the case and the like where the neck of the guitar is, he reaches in and picks out what looks to be like a triangular piece of like thin bone or something, and he hands it to you. And he motions like this.
Okay.
It's a pick. He hands you a pick.
I'm like, what? Inferior's like,
Don't put your
"Weird,
oily
but all
fingers on my guitar strings.
right." Whatever. So rude. Fantastic. Well, I'll give it a whirl then.
Give me a performance check, please.
Absolutely not. Okay.
You don't have
Watch
to.
me fucking.
Break all of this poor boy's strings.
Primo shit right there.
Yeah, boy.
He watches you with his hands like this, his chin tucked into his hands. He seems enraptured in your playing.
Oh.
And when you're done, he
I have that
claps.
effect on people.
Oh God, because that's what we needed. More of an inflated ego on Yinfir.
he
Um,
kind of
Nothing. I was just gonna respond to Maddie.
he holds his hands out for the instrument.
I'll hand it back. Oh, thank
Right.
you so much for letting me play it.
And he just motions to you and holds two thumbs up. Puts the guitar carefully back in its case and takes the pick from you and slides it in there and closes the case. And then again, he pulls it close to himself and puts it down. Give me another perception check, please.
Perception.
Percepciones, por favor.
Boop. Well, hot diggity.
So he takes the case and, like I said, he kind of sets it down and pulls the plate over and finishes the rest of his food. He stands and puts the guitar over his shoulder, and he kind of motions and waves at everybody and looks at Zine and kind of pulls his hand down and.
Zine's not there anymore.
Oh, that's right. Zine flew away out of the building.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's at the temple.
Oh, that's right. You went back to where they were meditating. Gotcha. Sorry. For those of you who are left, he kind of waves. He takes his guitar and puts it over his shoulder and heads back out the door.
I'll finish up my breakfast in silence and solitude.
At a different table from everybody else.
Yeah.
Walks back over, plucks a napkin. Excuse me. Sits back
Excuse me.
Sits
Takes the salt and pepper. Excuse me.
You savages don't need these. Not you.
My
not,
table
not,
didn't
not,
have these.
Not you, Gillet. Not you, nor you.
Nor you.
Just these other savages. It's like the only other two people. All right.
Well, yeah. Before.
Callista's just like, aren't you in love with one of these so-called savages?
I don't have to love every aspect about people. God. Let's be realistic here.
Are you still both still fighting?
No.
Technically, Arneth is still upset.
Oh, are we?
Yunfir doesn't know it, but yes.
Still mad about that potion, are we?
Whatever. We already talked about that.
We talked about it, but did we address it in game?
No.
We talked about it, but didn't we talk about it?
Talk about it. No, I mean, no, this is just Yunfir being stupid, but yes. No, we did not settle it properly. But as far as Yunfir is concerned, everything's fine.
He's like, everything is good.
We're
If
fine.
I
We
don't
usually just-
acknowledge the problem, it's not there.
No, it's like we had a 5-minute talk. It's fine. Like, whatever.
We had a conversation on the way into Reed Song. It's great.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're bottling up the issue.
What?
No, you got the wrong accent for that. So you're saying is you're bottling up the issue.
I need you two to get
Dr.
real.
Gill.
Take him to the ranch. Okay, but really, you're still mad at me? Really?
Yeah, he is just a little. I mean, at least he's talking to you, yeah.
You guys
At least you let
technically
you stay in
slept
the room with
same
him last
room, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
That doesn't mean
Got your
anything.
gift of the clothes, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. Grimly slept between us.
He did buy you a gift.
He did.
That's true. He did buy me a gift. That must mean you're not mad at me anymore.
Clearly.
How many more times? am I gonna have to
Resolution
say I'm
resolved.
sorry?
Until you actually understand why I was upset.
Mischief managed.
My Callista's just like, how is somebody so eloquent with their words, this bad with talking to people?
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
It's in here. It's in
Okay,
Like-
this isn't fair. This isn't fair. I didn't learn. Okay, I grew up in a whorehouse. I don't know if you know this about me. You should by now.
I
I
actually
didn't-
no. Anytime
Really?
I asked you about it, you've kind of just closed off and didn't want to talk about it.
Okay, well, here's your lesson for the day. I grew up in a whorehouse. You know, my communication isn't great. So maybe instead of judging me, all of you, you could maybe just cut me some slack this once. That would be awesome. Thanks.
But-
Bye.
Bunch of
But-
assholes.
You
But-
sound upset.
If you-
Grimly's gonna give you some gifting, Mud.
Mud pie.
Oh.
Mud pie.
No, thank you. This is very nice. But I don't have
If you-
anywhere to put it. Oh.
If you grew up in a whorehouse, how are you bad with communication? Shouldn't that be like the first thing you learn in a whorehouse?
Callista, have you ever been in a whorehouse?
No.
It's obvious.
The only communication you need is how much and what positions.
Ooh, yeah. Honestly.
I love how Zine is missing this because he'd have so many questions.
Oh, I'm sure he'll get the opportunity.
Oh, wait till we get to Landsport, buddy. Wait till we
Yep.
get to Landsport.
You get to meet my mom. She's great. Everybody loves
Everybody
her.
loves
I'm about to say,
Rose.
would you like him to meet her as an owl, as a giant constrictor snake, as a dire wolf? As
Oh,
How about as a lizard
snake.
folk?
She's
Just as
probably
herself.
seen
His-
everything by now.
His first reaction to being in a town is to become an owl, honestly. He tried being a lizard this morning, and then he saw people's reactions, which is why he ate real quick, shifted, and then left.
Well, that's because no one saw the owl come in as a lizard folk. All of a sudden, down the staircase comes a lizard folk.
And they're like, where did this motherfucker come from? Anyway. This
Well-
isn't this is
Okay,
not
well,
related.
Perhaps you should consider this from Arneth's side. How would you feel if Arneth just drank a potion that he didn't know what it was?
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess it depends on whether or not it actually hurt him. I don't know.
No, it doesn't. But it doesn't matter. We didn't know what it did, and you just downed it. You could
I'm
have been
sorry, are
drowning
you
in
giving this
poison.
lesson?
Yeah! Wait a minute! You have no right to tell me what's what. Little Miss
I-
drinks a love potion and rubs herself up on me like a cat.
Oh.
Was that what happened?
Pretty close.
No?
No, I have absolutely no recollection of what happened while I was under the effects of potion.
Bullshit.
Very traumatizing. I
Bullshit.
want to talk about this anymore. I'm going.
I want a deception check on that one.
Toward all of our insight checks.
I don't even know what's
Towards
going on.
I don't remember anything. Listen.
Do you need some cover
Sure
up
you
mud?
don't,
Hmm.
you fucking liar. Cover up mud.
You cannot bullshit a bullshitter. Every
made
single
this
one of
game.
them. Every
Can't
single one of them.
bullshit the party.
You know, I don't remember anything that happened as you.
Okay, listen.
Your course, because it's a disguise, nothing changes, but your voice cracks a little bit,
I
and
believe-
everybody
I'm
just goes,
curious.
right.
I believe the fuck out of
I
you.
was just curious. I don't even know what's going on, but I don't believe it.
As I realized I muted myself while I was talking. I pulled a B. That's yeah. Yennefer totally believes it.
But I haven't drinking a potion. We don't know what it is since.
Well, there's a first time for
Since
everything.
then.
How come you
Since
get a free one? And I just get shit on all the time. Nobody respects me at all.
Okay, let's hang on. Let's put this into a little bit of perspective. Then, in fear, Gillet and I weren't really in a committed relationship at the time. We have since met or seen you and Arneth's mother interacting together, which would therefore insinuate a relationship of some sort. And so, Arneth is well within his rights to be upset with you. And I'm sure Gillet was not very happy with me either.
Okay, well the difference is when I drank the potion, nothing happened. When you drank the potion, you tried to make out with me. There's a distinct difference.
Grimly is uncomfortable. He's like sliding down his chair to underneath the table so he can leave. He's
Trying
like,
to disappear.
Yennefer, it's not what did happen, it's what could have happened. I don't want you to die. I'm pretty over losing friends, so That's why I'm upset. And I know you are not getting in, but you just shrug and sadly shovel some more food into his mouth.
Is he a stress eater?
He is right now.
He's just got a handful of eggs and goes, we just don't know what happens.
Put down the bacon. Put down the bacon.
Honey, no, put the eggs down.
down
What
the
bacon?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's true.
He's
Okay.
eaten all the bacon and then fucked off.
Yeah, it's just maybe some eggs and a little bit of parsley left at this point.
You think they're fancy enough for garnish? Get out of here.
Parsley's expensive.
Think you
God,
are.
check your privilege. Okay.
He grew up on a parsley farm. It's not his fault. He
Yeah.
has parsley influenza.
Yeah. Jeez.
Effluenza, parsley effluenza.
Partial to parsley.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Zine, once again, everybody that is gathered here, you see the matron. She is sitting there quietly as she was yesterday, just meditating. You do watch, though, as you fly in, several of the sisters of several of the blessed sisters are taking plates away from where her spot, where the matron sits. She is not kneeling now. She is actually sitting like on her bottom, cross-legged. And as you fly in, she just kind of looks up and says, "Welcome back. Will you be sitting with us again today?" Once again, the milky white eyes are just not really tracking you, but just kind of looking in your direction.
The owl just hoots and will flutter up and land on her shoulder.
And she just goes back into that meditative state once again. What are the rest of you doing?
I say Zion told the party where he'd be, but he'll just stay there until either one of them comes to get him or it gets close to the time that his wild is going to wear off.
Okay.
Jack,
Hmm?
you know Sylvan?
Do I? I don't think I do.
It's not a racial trait that you have, so I don't know that you would know it or not.
I don't think I
I
do.
think maybe the only person in the party who speaks Sylvan is me.
Yeah.
Because that's the secondary. That was one of my extra languages.
Oh well, lucky you.
So at least one person knows where Zion went.
Mhm.
Grimly has disappeared
there he
from the table and the building and is just, I don't know, out in the streets walking around.
Walking the Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Yep.
You stop that.
I will not. Well, fine. Since this is my perfect opportunity to give actual and alone, maybe? No. We're not alone. I'm gonna make us alone. Everyone leave immediately. No,
I need all y'all to get up and go.
get the hell out of here.
Gillet, perhaps we should go collect Zine from the temple.
Okay.
And she's just gonna stand and gently pull her half orc out of the inn, leaving Yenfir and Arneth alone.
Just sort their problems.
Grimly,
Yeah.
as you're wandering the streets, just kind of idly looking around, you see a familiar form carrying a guitar over his shoulder,
Oh.
who's just kind of meandering throughout. It doesn't seem like he's lost or anything. He's just kind of walking through the streets ahead of you. And you guys are going to get Zine from the temple.
Yes.
Okay. Easy enough. As you enter the sanctuary temple, none of the sisters who are in meditation move. But out of one of the side chambers, shuffling forward quickly and with small steps, you see a very small Kamat. When I say very small, she's very slender and she's very short. Her hair, or the fur on her, though, is like thick and it's silver gray mottled, like a tabby, but a short hair tabby. And she walks over to you and she kind of bows, and she says, "All are welcome. How may we help you today?"
We're looking for a friend of ours. He might be
He's
an
an owl.
She kind of smiles for a moment. "He is with the Blessed Matron. Shall I go and get them?"
Thank you.
She turns and bows at you and shuffles off in that direction. One of her ears twitches as she goes. You can see her tail swashing behind her as she moves. She walks up and she doesn't say anything, but she bends down close to where Zine is at, reaches up a hand and just kind of touches the back of your head, your little owl head, and then she motions towards the front where you see Callista and Gillett standing there.
The head will do the 180 and turn around. Look at them.
To look at them, or to look at the matron?
To look at them.
Okay.
Then we'll switch back around. He'll hop to turn around, sort of like reach up a wing, pat the matron on the head with the wing, then lift off and fly over, and we'll land on Callista's shoulder.
She doesn't move or make any sound or anything else like that. But as you kind of look back, she kind of just moves her head almost imperceptibly, just a little bit down and back up. The short-haired tabby walks back towards where all you gathered there at the door, and she says, "You are blessed and received here always. Know that there is a place here for all who wish to stay." And then she turns and starts to move back towards whatever alcove or side room she was in. Grimly,
I'd say as that happening, Zine will, still as an owl, can only speak in Sylvan. Will just kind of speak and just like say, "This is a very peaceful place. It's for places like these that I enjoy traveling. Wish to see more of them if we have time, wherever we happen to go."
more of Reed's song.
more of like nature blessed places like this, like sanctuary like this, or like other groves, places like
Land's Porn ain't one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He's gonna be super uncomfortable in that city. But
Sorry. Maybe Rose
um,
has a potted plant.
Okay.
yeah, he was saying that to the two of
Trusting
them,
my
whichever
logic is
one of them
sound.
can understand him, because they're the ones that came to the temple, so he assumed that at least one of them can understand him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
She's just gonna reach up and just like gently kind of scratch at his feathers.
Scratching the feathers.
Leans into it, just like
Because this is not something she would feel comfortable doing in his lizard form, because he's just that much taller than she is.
mm-hmm.
But this is
You
fine.
mean you're not intimidated by the little owlet? If he's wet, he's a moist owlet.
I love it.
All right.
Good.
Depending on what
That
time
was
of day it
cheesy.
is,
That was
morning dew and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah. He'll just keep riding on Callista's shoulder until his wild shape is about to wear off.
Okay.
And depending on if we're in the
Otherwise, it's
city or
just-
not,
Lizard folk.
yeah. And
You want a
depending on
broken
if we're
shoulder?
I say depending on if we're still in Reed Song or not. If we're still in Reed Song when those hours have passed, then he'll use his second wild shape to remain as an owl. But if we're outside of Reed Song, by the time those 5 hours have passed, then he'll hop off and then shift back. And
I assume that you guys gathered him because your intent was to leave Reed Song. Is that correct?
Right.
Mm.
Grimly, you are still following. I will assume you're still following Guitar Kid.
Yeah. Guitar
Okay.
Kid.
He doesn't turn to look at you, but he turns down an alleyway.
Okay.
As he does, it's a strange thing to have in Reed's song, but you watch as some rougher looking kids lean forward and kind of walk over, and they one of them says, "What have you got for us today, mutie?"
Wow, rude.
And one of the other kids steps forward. He's much larger than this one. "Have you got the money for us that you're supposed to have?" He kind of holds the guitar, and one of them reaches for the string, and he just kind of puts his hand up like this. "Oh, look, he's gonna try to hit us." "Come on, what are you gonna do? There's two of us. There's only one of you, and you can't even talk." He steps and puts the guitar and opens the case up and pulls it out. And one of the other kids is like, "What are you gonna do? Play us to sleep? Come on, what are you gonna do?" He just kind of holds his head down for a second. He takes the pick and he just strums once. The note is discordant. It is not beautiful.
Ruh-roh.
It is not pretty. It is jarring. I need you to give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no!
That's Grimly with a
Not
wisdom
that
saving throw.
Spain.
He's fine.
I'll say as a cleric, it should be fine.
True, yes, but
Yeah.
With a 22 to
cursed-
wisdom, I think, right?
Cursed objects.
Yeah.
You watch as the two boys look back and forth to each other, but all they do is move their eyes. He just shakes his head. And again, you're not seeing his face. You can only see the back of his head. But he just kind of shakes his head back and forth. And he puts the guitar back in there and puts the pick back in. Closes it. Hoists it back over his shoulder. As he walks by, he just pats one of them on the shoulder. And then he pats the other one. And they both kind of stumble forward a step. They look at him and they just start running past him towards you. Hit the end of the alley where you're standing and then just keep going. They don't stop. He turns back around to look and sees you, and his eyes go wide. And he goes like this, putting a finger to his lips, and shakes his head back and forth.
Grimly's just like, okay, that's fine.
And then he smiles, and he waves, and he starts to walk down the alley again. Not all bards use their voice.
Apparently. Damn.
Eventually, you catch sight of a red-orange mop of hair, a little like yours, taller, and the hulking form of, I say hulking, it's muscular form of Arneth walking, and you can see Gillet and Callista. And your owl friend flooding towards you from different directions.
I'll just walk up, so as they're walking, I'm kind of meet the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. As you all gather up, you head towards Lanceport, heading north and then west, further towards the ocean. And we're actually going to call it there tonight a little early as you were heading towards Lanceport. But that gives me a chance to announce what I was going to announce. So those of you who are tuned in and watching, we here at Dire Bear Adventuring Company, blessed with a boon of books. Tomb of Annihilation, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Out of the Abyss and Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Xanathar's Guide to Everything is literally one of the best books since the PHB for having extra subclasses and spells and things like that. But next episode, which will be episode number 48, we will be giving away one of those books. So we'll be announcing on Twitter and everything else like that. And so stay tuned as we will be giving away your very own copy of this book. You need to get details on how to get it to you, things like that. But we'll be giving away a hard copy to those who are in attendance. It's one of the first of a few giveaways that we're going to be doing. So make sure that next week on Monday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.-ish, right around there, stay tuned because we will be doing Central Time. Thank you. We will be doing a giveaway for an official hardcover book. And what we'll probably do is maybe your choice. So if you want a module instead of a book, the modules that we have there, Tomb of Annihilation is a great dungeon crawl puzzle filling book, and it's got great maps. And Chult is, if you can either love or hate Chult, I personally kind of think Chult is interesting. And Out of the Abyss is all about the Underdark. So all the Drow loving, Duergar hating life you can get in you, along with the Demogorgon. That's right, the Demogorgon, as made famous in early editions of Dungeons and Dragons, and then made famous again by Stranger Things. We do have that in Out of the Abyss. Xanathar's Guide to Everything is literally more subclasses, spells, new twists on the rules and how to play things, background or feats based on your background and or your race. There's a lot of different things that you can do with it. And then Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide is everything about the Sword Coast, which is one of the most popular places in there. Waterdeep set there, Baldur's Gate, Luskan, all of those. Skullport, which is inside of Waterdeep. It's one of the levels of the dungeon. All those are set inside of that. So it's another great book to have, especially since a lot of the modules that they have out, Horde of the Dragon Queen, Rise of Tiamat, Storm King's Thunder, all of those modules take place, especially the new ones with Waterdeep, take place in the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, and it has extra things about that. So it's a campaign setting book. But tune in next week, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central, and we'll be giving one of those away. In the meantime, some of us will be back on Wednesday. We are getting near the end of Brobot's Binary Heroes, and we will be starting something new after that. But we would like to have you all tune in again, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central-ish. More like 6 to 8, I think is really what kind of we're doing. But yeah, tune in on there, same channel, same time, and we will see you all then. Until next time, though, I would love to give my love and appreciation for all of my players, Maddie and V and Eric and Chief and Steve and Jack. Thank you all so much for coming along on this adventure with me. And until then, we love you guys. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Good night, everyone.